Oh, that was the door. Okay, it's 12:59. We'll let people log in. People are coming in on Zoom. Let's go. All right. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to our second Saturday seminar series. I'm Susan Jones here at the Animas Museum, and our guest speaker today is Patty Joy. Patty was teasing me yesterday, saying that I dream up these talks for an excuse so that we get to work together. And maybe that's partly true, because working with Patty is always a wonderful opportunity. But actually, this started back in November when Chautauqua presenter Gail Beaton was here in Durango. And that was sponsored by Colorado Humanities and part of the Animas Museum's look at the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, because Gail came and presented as Rosie the Riveter. And she was just fantastic. If you missed it, sorry, but hang on, we have another opportunity. It happens that one of the other people that Gail interprets, other than Rosie the Riveter, is Sarah Platt Decker. So we kind of said, well, wait a minute. Who the heck is Sarah Platt Decker? We know our local chapter of the DAR is named for her. And we thought, hey, wow, maybe we should bring Gail back to town to play Sarah Platt Decker. And we plan on it, but it didn't work out for the spring. But the good news is, and I'll give you more information later, she's coming in September. So we're really excited about that. But in the meantime, I talked to Patty and said, would you be interested in talking about the history of the Sarah Platt Decker DAR chapter? And she said yes, and here we are. So Patty Joy, if you don't know, is from a Western Slope pioneer family. Her grandfather was a highway civil engineer here in Durango in the 1920s. And she and her husband finally settled in Durango over 10 years ago after living in their cabin on the Dolores River for 3 years. She has served as the regent of the local chapter of the DAR and is very into researching and history and genealogy. You might also know her as a local fiber artist and quilt historian. She's had done presentations on quilts with us before and quilts in our collection here at the museum. And those are available on our website and on our YouTube channel. So if you missed those, you can catch up with that. And she's also had a lot of experience working with archaeologists, both in the field and museums, including here at the Animas Museum when we did our last pottery project. So before we get started, this is a hybrid event today. We are live in the 1905 classroom and streaming on Zoom at the same time and recording the talk. So please bear with us if any kinks work out. We're getting better every month, but it just gets kind of crazy. So for those of you on Zoom, real quick, some housekeeping. We're using Zoom's webinar feature, which means that you're all muted and your videos are off. At the bottom of your screen, and you may need to mouse down to see it, there are a couple icons. We're not going to be using the chat function today, but we will have Q&A. So if you have an immediate question or issue, click on the Q&A button and we'll get back with you in case there's any sound issues or something like that. We do support closed captioning, but you need to turn it on if you want it. And to do so, navigate down to the icons at the bottom, click on captions and enable show captions. It'll be green if it's enabled. So we ask everybody to hold all their questions till the end of the talk. We'll open up for the classroom first, and we'll make sure to repeat any questions because the two of us are the only ones with microphones. So we'll make sure that people on Zoom hear the questions. So if you're on Zoom, then you can go ahead and type your questions into the Q&A and we'll get to them at the end. We'll try to get all the questions, but if we don't, we will post the answers on the webpage with the recording of this webinar. This session is being recorded and you'll receive an email in 24 hours with a link to the recording if you're on Zoom. And with that, here's Patty.
Thank you, Susan. Susan and I have loads of fun working together and enhancing this amazing museum. If you haven't been to the museum, those of you on Zoom or even here, come. It's a treasure. I am a member of the Sarah Platt Decker DAR in Durango and have been maybe 14 years. I transferred from a Durango chapter And I have always active. I believe if you're a part of an organization, you should be active. And with that, I will tell you the history of our chapter. The Durango, and most of this will be read because a lot of this is new information to me this week. The Durango chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution was established in July 1917 with 15 charter members. The national organization had been founded in 1890 to remember and celebrate the men and women who actively participated in the forming of the United States of America. These persons are considered patriots, and all members of the DAR have a lineal descent from those citizens. The organization was founded not only to remember these people, but to volunteer and participate in projects that benefit the many communities throughout the United States. The Durango chapter selected the name Sarah Platt Decker in honor of a Colorado woman whom they greatly admired. She was state DAR regent 1908-1909 and had met the charter members of the Durango chapter on her visit to the city. Mrs. Decker was a lifelong suffragette and dedicated her life to the rights of women. She led a large relief effort for miners during the Panic of 1893 and was the first woman to serve on the State Board of Pardons. She held the position of national president of the Federation of Associated Women's Clubs and was a powerful national speaker for women. She passed away in 1912. Our chapter is very proud to have this woman as our namesake. Next photo. Over the years, the ladies of DAR reported many of their events to the Durango Herald, which has become a font of information on the activities of this society. Sorry. We're working this out still a bit. This is a picture, a photo, 1921, of the officers of the new DAR chapter. And most likely these are charter members. So it's kind of a treasure that we have this photo. Not one, oh, a lot of this information, early information I got from the Durango Herald. It is a font of information for Durango because they had a social page where they told every time somebody went to tea, it was in the paper. Not once to limit their organization to meetings and cookies, the Sarah Platt Decker chapter hit the ground running by preparing comfort kits for military personnel serving in World War I. The kits included knitted garments such as sweaters, scarves, mittens, socks, and caps, with toiletries and other necessities included. And with each year, their community service activities only grew. It is reported that in 1921, awards were given to the high school students with the highest grade in American history for the year. The students received $10 and $15 gold pieces. The chapter celebrated students in this manner for many years. Next slide. This early photo is a celebration of the naturalization of a number of students with their sponsors and teachers. By 1923, the chapter had become involved in the education of persons seeking American citizenship, sponsored applicants, and taught the classes necessary for the process. As related in the Durango Herald, some students who were already American citizens took the classes to learn better English. Mrs. Jacobson taught these classes for many years. This program was continued until the 1990s when the naturalization process was moved entirely to Denver. Next photo. I and other members of our chapter were proud to attend a naturalization ceremony in Durango last year. And we gave out flags and Constitution booklets for everybody. Here's the little flags that we gave out. Next photo. This photo shows the sign at Baker's Bridge with John W. Turner and his grandson, Mr. and Mrs. John C. Turner, his father, and their 3 little boys came from New Mexico. Mr. Turner had been with the Baker Party on the Animas River in 1860. In June 1930, the DAR chapter erected a sign on the edge of Baker's Bridge to celebrate the crossing of Charles Baker and his party in 1861, where they placer mined and built the first bridge in the area. The DAR ladies presented a pageant at the bridge and unveiled the markers showing the location of the first bridge. Many of them dressed in costume for the pageant, and it was a great event. Mrs. Florence Wilson wrote and directed the pageant to the delight of the crowd of locals. In subsequent years, a marker was placed at the intersection of 550 and 160, showing where the Dominguez Escalante party crossed the river on their way west. This marker has been sadly lost to time and reconstruction of the road and is believed to be buried under the pavement. We have never been able to recover it or even know it's not noted anymore. A third plaque was placed by the Sarah Platt Decker chapter DAR ladies at the Ute Memorial for Chief Uray and Buckskin Charlie and Ignacio. And you can visit this important marker in at their site. To raise money for the chapter, the Herald reports that they had numerous card parties that the ladies hosted with delicious treats provided. A special event took place at the Elk Club in February 1927. The ladies of Sarah Platt Decker presented the DAR Colonial Ball with some of the members in costume. They charged $2 per couple and worked with the city to have the streets around the Elk Club cleared of snow, which is, we have to remember, they had to get out probably wagons or something to clear them. To encourage a varied number of people to attend the ball, the ladies hosted a card party in an adjacent room for those who did not dance. They also raised money through Christmas holiday concerts to finance the educational work of the chapter and the historical fund. They were proud to have excellent vocal artists participate to enhance their earnings and entertain the public. For several years, the ladies had a float in the Legion Parade, and one year their float came in third as reported by the Herald, and there was a picture in the Herald of it. Along with their other activities, the ladies of the Sarah Platt Decker started collecting oral histories of early residents in the Animas region. They felt the importance of preserving these stories of history. They wrote an essay on the San Juan counties, Spanish influence, auto mirrors, then struck out to interview members about their families. The first book was published in 1942. They must have worked nearly 10 years on this to get this done. They went on to write and publish 3 more books on the region, completing the last one in 1961. Finally, all were compiled into one large volume, The Pioneers of the San Juan Country. This book is divided into 4 volumes, and after much discussion, it was decided there needed to be an index. At first, there was no index, and if you don't have an index, it's near impossible to find anything in this book. Thank goodness. One can check the index for where any story or name is presented in the different volumes. Many ladies in the chapter contribute to the volumes, but Mrs. Helen Searcy and Mrs. Lena Knapp must be remembered for their tireless work on the project and the many articles they wrote. They were also charter members, so they continued the work for many years on this. This book is still available through the chapter, and if anybody's interested, we're more than happy to sell you one of the books. In May 1931, the DAR chapter and Citizens Committee backed the PTA to make kindergarten an integral part of the public school system, thus promoting early education in the community. The National DAR has for many years supported schools for underprivileged children in extremely rural parts of the U.S. This goes back to very early, like 1910, when they started supporting some of these schools. And this chapter has always stepped up to help with financial aid needed for these schools. In 1943, the chapter voted to support Frankie Hopkins, a girl of 12 at the Tennessee School for Girls, sending money, cars, and gifts to help her. And we still support the schools. In World War II, it was reported in the Herald that the chapter had collected $692.50 from various organizations and individuals for the war effort. Not a small amount at this time. $600 was quite a bit. Along with these efforts, the ladies supported the war by purchasing $100 government bonds with money earned by the chapter and helping to promote the local blood drives. In 1952, it is reported that the rummage sale made it possible to pay off the last of the hospital pledge. So they were involved in hospital activities as well. In 1957, the chapter assisted the PTA with a program to educate students on civil defense drills. They assisted in the procedures to be taken in case of nuclear attack, not only duck and cover, but how to safely evacuate the area. Students who were further than walking distance from the school were instructed to get into the teachers' cars and be taken to a safe place where parents could pick them up. We assumed that those within walking distance just took off toward home. And it's really interesting because we had the stamp mill here that processed a lot of that uranium. Well, if somebody was going to blow, those kids weren't going to be safe anyway. So that's kind of an interesting little thing but the schools tried to make an effort with the duck and cover thing. And that same year, they were at the forefront of raising money to honor Dr. Florence Sabin for her work in promoting better public health in Colorado. The state wanted to have a statue of her placed in Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. $25,000 was needed for the statue, and the chapter raised $387 and urged children in the area to donate at least 1 penny for the project. The statue graces the hall. Next photo. Oh, yes. Since the 1950s, when the nation declared September 17th, 27th National Constitution Week, the Sarah Platt Decker chapter has been extremely active in bringing the public's attention to this anniversary. The banner has been hung on Main Street, Durango for many years, and members of the chapter have received an official proclamation from the cities of Durango and Pagosa. Joanne McCoy has been in charge of this amazing project and sets up displays at area libraries and the museum. Following the practice of honoring students in the early days with a gold coin, the chapter instituted the National DAR Good Citizen Awards for local high school graduating seniors. The winners are chosen by their respective schools for their dependability, service, leadership, and patriotism. One student wins the region, and their name is sent on to the state DAR for consideration. Our chapter is so proud of the excellent students chosen for this honor and the state winners that we have had over the years. The Durango Herald has done an excellent job of celebrating these students. This chapter has sponsored students in the DAR history writing contest, with some winning state and regional awards. In 1969, members traveled to Cortez to honor a state DAR ROTC member. And in 1993, the chapter participated in the first Colorado History Day as judges. Students in middle and high school compete with storyboards on a selected history project, with the winners going to the state contest. This program continues with chapter members acting as judges. I have judged, my husband is judge, Susan is judge. They gather up anybody. If you would like to judge, we'll gather you up. Next slide. This chapter celebrated its 100th anniversary in 2017 with an elegant dinner at the Strader Hotel and several events as hosts for DAR members from around the state. When October comes around, members know it is time to get out their baking pans. As requested by National DAR, our Service to America project each year is to bake cookies and deliver them to first responders throughout the region. This last year, we baked over 150 dozen cookies to hand out to fire stations, police, and even animal control. And they know we're coming. We've done it enough years. They always are so pleased to see us. So our cookies are good. Next slide. This chapter has been an active participant in the Wreaths Across America project to place holiday wreaths on graves of all veterans in the area cemeteries. Next slide. In 2021, the chapter launched a new program, Community Classrooms. It works with teachers to provide additional support to children and schools in the community, and the chapter has delivered sunshine boxes of school supplies to supplement school needs and student needs in schools in Durango, Ignacio, Bayfield, and Pagosa. Along with this program, the chapter has made up flag packs for first graders in local schools so that they can learn about the American flag. Next slide. Oh, the other one didn't show up. The weird one. Oh, that's okay. We can do it. That's okay. I added, excuse me, ladies, I added one last night that was kind of a weird one, but during COVID, our chapter did not stop its community work. We held our meetings on Zoom, continued to deliver much needed supplies to local schools, and many of us hunkered down on our sewing machines making masks. The masks from this area were delivered to the Navajo Nation, where there was a much urgent need. And I met a gal just the other day at a class who said she wore some of those masks. She's a Navajo woman. The State President General's project this spring consisted of providing freedom sacks, actual sacks filled with grade school level revolutionary stories for students. Our chapter purchased 3, which were delivered and much appreciated. Our literacy program chair, Elena Molinero, has collected books for a pediatric office, gifting them 94 books and stocking the bookshelf at La Plata Youth Services with another 94 to promote reading for young adults who face challenges in school, at home, and in court. And 47 books were donated to the public library for their projects. We are proud to be present with a table at Earth Day in both Pagosa and Durango. This effort highlights our work to recycle plastic to the amount of 1,000 pounds to receive a Trex bench. Thanks to Tanis Ransberger efforts, we have had 5 benches delivered. Next slide. Oh yeah, that's right, we're there. Each year we donate money to area projects such as Manna Soup Kitchen, Humane Society, B. Frank Music, and Anna's Museum, which were delighted. We had a fun little day when we came. Next slide. A special project we help fund is Aspen House in Pagosa. This is a planned home for adult mentally disabled persons. The son of one of our members is part of that community, sometimes attends our meetings, and we are so proud that we can support this housing opportunity. We have an adopted road in Pagosa that we have members clean up a couple times a year. And I regularly take a load of calendar, notebooks, and quilts. Here's one of them, done by the La Plata Quilt Guild. So I work with them to the Home Lake Veterans Home in Monte Vista. Next slide. Members are active in many of the veterans events and ceremonies in the area. The group of ladies has helped serve dinner at the VFW to honor Vietnam veterans for several years. And these are the ladies with their little aprons on, helping with dinner. And we usually have a table to provide information to vets at the local veterans stand down. Next slide. Yeah, that's always genealogical research. We do small genealogy seminars several times a year and help each other discover new patriots in our family line. I have found 9, and Janine Dobbins has an embarrassing number. You'd think she would be related to everyone in America. And food. The scrapbooks and meeting notices are filled with mentions of the excellent food chapter members have made and shared. Each month, we share potluck lunches after the meeting to promote goodwill and friendship. The Sarah Platt Decker chapter is stronger than ever with 93 members, the most at any time in its history, and active with the many activities that we participate in. We are proud of our members who live in Durango, Pagosa, Bayfield, Ignacio, Arbalest, and even Mancos. We keep in contact through our excellent monthly newsletter and meetings alternating between Durango and Pagosa. We have members who hold offices and committee chairmanships on the state level and are proud of our member, Janine Dobbins, who is state regent and has held office on the national level. We would love to have any women who can trace their lineage to patriots of the Revolutionary War to join us in our community activities and fun events. Thank you for allowing me to present this history of Sarah Platt Decker chapter and SDAR, an organization that I am proud to be part of. Thank you. Are there questions?
Pat, I have a question. You mentioned at the beginning of your presentation about the marker for the Escalante, crossing the Escalante route.
Right.
That it's missing. Where do you believe the original marker lies?
The question, I have to repeat the question was, do we have any idea where the marker that marked the Dominguez Escalante traverse of the river, and we don't. And I can't find that information. And Janine and I just know it's out there somewhere, but I have a plan with Susan to do research here on DAR so we get all of our information consolidated. I mean, I would do like an index of where everything is, and hopefully that information will come out in somewhere. I could not find it in any of the papers. I found information, a lot of information about Baker's Bridge, and a little quick mention about the Uray site. And I had to go on, you can go online and look at the site. It's really interesting, or you can drive down there. It's a fun little drive. But I found no information on that. So I'm still looking, and maybe National has some information on us where we are. So Thank you for your question. Any more questions?
Well, I think Kathy Gibson has something she wants to share. So Kathy, I'm going to allow you to talk.
Okay. Briefly, and I can't show the book, but I have a couple copies of this big, wonderful book that the DAR has wrote so long ago. And in the fourth book is a story about my great Aunt Pearl. She and my grandmother told the story to the DAR so that it could be recorded, and it is. And they recorded it in 1961. Aunt Pearl died in 1963, so she was like 87, 88, 90 years old when she told the story. It's a neat story. It's about a young woman riding the old road from Uray to Ironton because she missed the train coming home to come home to Durango. So, but what's interesting is that this book is so good. It's got so much history in it. It gave me a little idea of what it was like back then. And she said it occurred in 1889. But maybe 30 years later, I found an article from the newspaper, and it said that it was 1890 that she went. She was given a gift of tickets to go to Utah to visit friends, and this story has to do with her coming back and the trouble that she got into by oversleeping and missing the stage to Ironton. So this book is full of wonderful stories, and I appreciate so much the fact that we can read Durango history from the beginning to, well, almost the present day in 1961. And I'm just so appreciative. Both Aunt Pearl and our grandmother were members of the DAR, the Sarah Platt Decker years ago, of course, and it's a real pleasure
thank you
to.
so much for sharing. I mean, we love to hear stories. Yes, and this is just a fun read. I tab it and do little readings here and there. But yes, the DAR ladies wrote this, but also they wrote about their own families too and their own experiences. So thank you ever so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Anybody else, you can either raise your hand and we'll let you talk like we did with Kathy, or type it into either Q&A or webinar chat. I'm watching everything. I don't see anything. Okay.
Oh, yes. Diana, you have a question.
The marker for Chief Hoover.
Down in Ignacio, there is I didn't write it down. There's a park, and it has triangular pillars, and on that it honors Uray, Buckskin Charlie. What are the other two, Ruth?
I think that's the name of two.
But there are actually, but they kind of, so, and the DAR has a marker down there. And is there a marker in the cemetery?
Those pillars.
Oh yeah, the pillars are in the cemetery. It's in the, and it's a Ute cemetery. And for those of you who don't know, Chief Uray actually was born in Taos. And I mean, he was an amazing person who really unified the Utes and really tried to work for better lands for them. And sadly enough, it's believed he had stomach cancer. He went to Washington to help make treaties and to promote Ute solidarity, and he died. And it was a tragedy because things kind of fell apart after that for the Utes. His wife, Chipeta, was a Northern Ute, and she went to east of Vernal to the reservation up there. And I have to tell you, since we have a minute, family history, my husband's grandfather was a good friend of Chipita's. And she used to come to Rangeley to visit. And Jay's aunt was named by Chipita. So we have these fun little stories. And so I keep trying to find out more about her. Yes, and her relationships with white people in Rangeley. So yeah, but they were very much part of Colorado. And yes, you can go down and visit. It's just kind of a fun, go have lunch at the casino.
If there's nothing else, we'll do our shameless self-promotion.
Okay. It's not shameless. These are
It's
good
not
promotions.
shameless. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Patty. That was
long did it
incredible. And I know I
That's okay.
do want to
She's
say
helping
that
me.
those early pictures, a lot of those early pictures are in the collection of the Animas Museum. And it's kind of interesting. They were donated by Helen Searcy, who was one of the earliest.
She was one of the charter members.
Of the Sarah Platt Decker DAR. And I know Robert McDaniel, our founding director, talked about her a couple months ago when he did a talk about Pueblo pottery, because Helen, she was the one who started realizing that our history had some great stories. And she really was the mover and shaker to get those histories written. And we, in our collection from the family, we have not only pictures of the early DAR, like the Americanization program, which is just so cool. And then we also have some of the original typed transcripts for that book. So, because Helen was one of the major editors, so she typed up the transcript and there's handwritten notes all over it, and then that's what they gave to the publisher. So we do have those in our collection. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. So real quick, the museum is open to the public on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 10 to 4, and Wednesdays and Fridays 1 to 4. Our next event is going to be in the second Saturday seminar series, will be on July 12th at 1 o'clock. And Charlie DiFernando and I are going to be talking about the Hayden Survey, because the Hayden Survey happened 150 years ago next month. And that was really, it's really interesting. It's really what pushed a lot of the people coming out here. You know, some miners and prospectors were already starting, but the Hayden Survey tried to figure out what was here and, if you will, how can we make money off of it? So that's going to be interesting. And this is all part of our preparations for the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of the Independence and the 150th anniversary of Colorado statehood, or the sesquicentennial, as we call it. It takes a while to learn that word. There's no charge for that program, which will be recorded. But since it's summer, we're lucky today. It's not too hot in here. But since we don't have air conditioning, July and August just like a toaster oven in this room. So we're just going to do those on Zoom. So our website has the registration for the Hayden Survey, and everything gets posted on our YouTube channel at Animas Museum. If you're ever bored some night, we have like hours and hours and hours of La Plata County history that you can watch on YouTube. In August, again, Zoom only because of the heat, it's going to be the 80-year anniversary of the end of World War II. So we're going to look at how La Plata County was affected. We've done this kind of all along. We look at primary sources to see, what was going on here in La Plata County as the war was over.
Upstairs. Don't forget.
And yes, and
don't forget upstairs.
Don't forget upstairs. We have 2 exhibits right now running upstairs as Frontlines to Homefront. That talks all about La Plata County in World War II, and also Supplying Victory out here, which talks about our victory ship, the SS Durango Victory, which has some fun stories associated. So those are going to close at the end of August, and then we'll move on to more 250, 150 kind of exhibits. So make sure you catch it now. And that webinar will be on August 9th, again at 1 p.m. And we'll have sign up and details on our website. That one we don't have up yet, but we'll have it soon. And History La Plata is here. Excuse me. This year's edition is out. If you didn't get a copy in the Durango Herald, we've got them out here. Or you can watch watch. Look at it online on our website, animusmuseum.org. Click on publications. Now, September is going to be big as we really start ramping up for 2026. First of all, it's History Live Month, which is sponsored by the Southwest Colorado's Humanities Roundtable. And that means all month long, there are going to be Chautauqua speakers, there are going to be programs like at the Center of Southwest Studies, the Durango Library, the Pine River Library, the Ignacio Library, the Southern Youth Cultural Center is going to have programs. It's just going to be all over the Animus Museum, of course. It's just going to be all over the place. And that is when Gail Beaton is coming to play Sarah Platt Decker. So if you missed her the first time, definitely come out. We're still working on all the logistics, but we can tell you for sure she's going to be at the Durango Public Library on Friday, September 26th at 7 p.m. So again, we'll have more information on our website. There'll be an insert in the Herald as we get closer. There'll be, I don't know if we're going to get KSUT spots this year. We'll try. Let's see. But so we'll have information out. We may also have her talk at the Ignacio Library was interested, as well as the Pine River. So there may be more, but it's really fun that we're all working together in September on that. Now, and September is really big here because we're going to be opening a traveling exhibit from History Colorado, the Colorado State Historical Society. It's called Ute STEM, and it talks about how the Utes needed to use science, technology, engineering, and math to survive here in what's now Colorado. I mean, how do you build a teepee? Or, how do you do beading? And, and so that's what this whole exhibit's going to be about. And it's going to be, we're opening a new gallery over here next door. So it'll be more accessible for people. And we hope to have a lot of kids come. And John Valdez will give the opening talk on the second Saturday. So we're really excited about all that. And that'll be open through the fall. And then in January, we hope to open our exhibit called Power of Place, where we're going to look at how the topology and how the geography of this place affected the people who have lived here for thousands of years, from the ancestral Pueblo people to the Ute people to the Spanish, like Dominguez and Escalante, who were here in 1776. And, how it affected us today with the railroads and the roads. So we're really excited about that. So a lot is going to be happening here at the museum. So let me do a quick check online. Nope, no questions. Okay. And so finally, to keep up with us, join us. Members only get access to our online catalog database. And you can sign up on our website, or if you're here today, we've got the sign up little forms today. Visit our website for more resources, subscribe to our e-blast, follow us on Facebook, like us on Instagram. And if you want to see continued programming like this, be sure to hit the donate button every now and then. It really makes a difference. So thank you all again for coming today. Happy Father's Day to those who celebrate tomorrow, and have a great weekend, and we'll see you next month. All right.
Yeah, see you at 11.